Reddit, what is your stupidest fighter so has started with you? I spent months putting together the perfect birthday present for him, and I was super excited to give it to him. I knew he'd love it. When the day came, I realized I was all out of colored wrapping paper, so I wrapped the box in brown paper instead, and he flipped the frick out on me and yelled at me for an hour straight until I was a sobbing mess because the paper was wrong. All this without even opening it. Eventually he did open it, glanced at it without taking it out of the box, and left it on the floor. A few months later I found the box shoved into his storage unit under a heap of dirty newspaper, still untouched. Thankfully I eventually worked up the self-esteem to ditch him. We went for a lovely hike at a really nice trail. She wanted me to take more pictures of us, and didn't like that I wanted to save some of the little space and batteries for later on the hike, in case we found even nicer areas. This was about 10 minutes after parking. The rest of the day was ruined. Eventually I took her up on her threat that she'd move back in with her mom. She moved back in with her mom because you wouldn't take more pictures at the beginning of a hike. Her, isn't that the same actor in such and such? Me, I don't think so. Her, yes it is, you freaking dong. Both of us whips out Google. Sounds healthy to me. Move along. She was mad that I had dinner ready when she got home from work one evening, and bitched that I hadn't given her any time to unwind. She's an ex, so now my so gets all super louve duvet when I have dinner ready for him when he comes home. Just keeps repeating thank you between bites. I love cooking him dinner even if I don't like cooking because I know he truly appreciates it. I burned the grilled cheese sandwich. I used a bowl instead of a plate. I didn't give her things to argue about, so she found her own things. My ex-girlfriend, who was an animal activist, vegetarian, she turned vegan after we broke up, got angry at me because I said I didn't like SeaWorld due to the treatment of orcas. Yeah, I know. Did she not realize what SeaWorld did to them? I mean, she's not a very good animal activist if she doesn't. I used a bowl to store some soup because it was exactly the volume one needed, and it had a tight sealing lid. Apparently that bowl is only for storing baked goods. My ex-wife would get mad at me for eating cheap food. I ate cheap food because we had little money and she only ate expensive vegetarian microwavable foods. I didn't eat nothing but ramen or anything, but sometimes I would buy the cheap bologna or tuna fish for my sandwiches. I'd also buy meat that was on sale because the expiration date was coming up and cook it either that day or the next day. She hated this along with buying off-brand products. She didn't want to do anything to really help out the financial situation, nor did she want to go out less often, so she just nagged me on what I ate. That sounds bogus. Like she knows the money situation. Like if it's the best you can do, it's the best you can do. I mean, healthy food is way more expensive than cheap food. Whoa, so many crazy moments with my ex. She would tell me my dad is not my friend whenever me and my dad would hang out. She insisted that she was my family now, and I need to grow up and quit hanging out with my dad. One Christmas, she had to work late, so me and her 8-year-old son decided to decorate the house. Sound like a nice surprise, right? Wrong. She walks through the dang door, literally has a major fit, tears down the tree and cusses me out in front of her son for trying to take over her job as a mother. Same thing happened when I decided to make a nice meal from scratch. She got soapy that I wasted my money on fancy food, and I should stay out of the kitchen because that was her space. One time I was sending MSGs to my 17-year-old niece on my laptop. She walks in, asks who I'm talking to. She then yanks my laptop away, and in one movement flings my laptop out the front door into a fire pit we had going, telling me that she is my family, and I shouldn't talk to other women. That's just the tip of the old iceberg with her. OGs in front of her child. Some people are so insecure. That crazy. I asked my girl this question so that I could comment on this thread. She just said which time. Goddamn, that was ice cold. This is up there as my favorite ones. I can see you all happy to get an answer and she just gives you that. Pull up a carpet square. I have a story. It was my birthday and my then husband and I were going to hike to celebrate. We are getting ready to leave and the dryer buzzes. The dryer was full of his button down shirts, so I suggested that we hang them up before we leave since he would complain about having to iron them. This led to him slamming doors, screaming. To this day I have no idea what set him off. I was legit trying to help with the suggestion and didn't tell him to hang up his shirts. I said wait a sec before you head to the car. Let's hang up these shirts, as I was walking to the laundry room to hang them up. Regardless, I spent the afternoon in our bedroom hiding from the rampage and reading a romance novel. My ex-boyfriend used to constantly slap my butt, all the time. So one day, he was getting ice from the fridge, and I smacked his butt, as I sometimes did. He freaked out on me, like full-blown anger, completely refused to even speak to me. I was 15 at the time and I couldn't drive home, so I had to sit there with him in silence. He ended up falling asleep and I watched TV by myself for the rest of the night. To this day, I have no idea what pissed him off like that. You asserted your dominance over him. You took what was his and made it your own. You made him your B. LOL. Wait a minute, a list. Actually every argument was stupid. Two that really stand out in my mind go. I went to work and came home the same time I did every day. After I had been home for an hour or so she goes to get something out of my truck. She comes back in the house yelling and screaming about how the truck smelled like a girl. I wasn't really at work. Who is she? Etc. She wants me to go smell the truck to prove her point and I'm thinking this is ridiculous but I'll do it to stop her crazy tantrum. I go down and smell the truck. Yup, it smells exactly like it does every time I get in it. Smells like a truck. WTF am I supposed to say? Like all of her stupid fights there was no winning this one. She smells another woman, I smell a truck. How the frick am I supposed to disprove a perceived smell? Another time we had just gotten some kick butt food from a local place. It was a beautiful summer day and we were going to have lunch at a park on the lake. I was driving and she had the takeout boxes sitting on her lap. She was not paying attention and when I turned a corner one of the boxes, her meal, falls to the floor and opens up all over the floor of my truck. My reaction? Oh man, that sucks. I'm a little annoyed that she didn't keep a hand on the boxes to prevent this from happening in the first place. That's going to be a pain to clean up but oh well, accidents happen. The food portions from this place were large so we could easily share mine and still enjoy our day. Her reaction? Somehow this is my fault and I did it intentionally as a personal attack on her. I spent good money on this food just so I could wave it under her nose and then dump it on the floor of my truck because I'm just that evil. Would you like to go back and get another order? No. Do you want half of my meal? No. Would you like to get unreasonably upset with me, sulk around and act miserable? Concoct some story in your mind about how the nachos all over my floor point to me cheating on you and completely ruin the rest of what would have been a nice day? Bingo, eh? My ex was on Facebook and found an article 23 ways to tell he's cheating on you. List was full of just bull stuff. He brings you flowers randomly. He comes home happy after work. He's on the computer a lot. She said she was upset because I do more than half those things, and she didn't understand why that made me mad. He comes home happy. Yes, I expect my so to be a miserable bastard when he gets home, just the way I like it. I was dating a girl back in university who, after we broke up of course, I've nicknamed Grandma. She was a 22-year-old student who went to bed at 9 PM and would wake up around 5 AM. Not for work or class, just because it's what she did. Read the newspaper and sip her tea while playing the news on her television. Nothing was wrong with any of this. It just wasn't the typical student type of behavior. And she also had a dog. A little black toy poodle she loved more than her own dang family. One Friday I was at her place. She went to bed at 9 like usual, but I stayed up to watch a movie. It ended around 11. So I tiptoed into the bedroom and saw the dog was on my pillow. Like any human would, I picked it up and set her in her own bed on the floor. My so woke up and said, and I quote, "If Bella was sleeping there, then you don't move her. Go sleep on the couch." She was dead serious. I grabbed my stuff I had left there and went back to my own apartment, with time to catch the end of a party next door. I had a text the next morning from her asking where I was. Went back over and told her we were done. Note, we hadn't been together long and it wasn't going great anyway. The whole dog thing is what pushed me over the edge to end it all. My girlfriend is like that in the sense of going to bed early but she doesn't wake up that early. But geez, she never gonna find a man if she expects them to sleep on the couch so the dog can have the bed. This is fun. I have another story. My then husband heard that a motorcycle racer had died on the track. He hadn't watched the race yet. It was taped. So he wants us to sit down and watch it. I sit next to him on the couch and watch this guy die. My husband had a motorcycle and liked to ride really fast. So you can imagine that seeing someone die in a motorcycle accident. Not cool. That night in bed, I tell him, mostly joking, I vote we trade in the bike on a tank. He yells at me, stalks out, slams the door, and sleeps on the futon in his home office. I was trying to explain that just because someone has a degree, if they do not provide facts, then I will not automatically believe their argument or accept their opinion as correct. We argued about it for a while when we got to her being in a US history class at the undergrad level. She was arguing that I should accept her opinion as right just because she was in the class. She smugly tried to stump me by asking me to state one thing that happened in 1954. I immediately reply with the release of the original Godzilla. She was furious. A long time ago, I got a $100 gift card from work for having perfect attendance. I gave it to my then fiance. Later that night at dinner, my work friends and I were joking at our cheap butt company and the $100 gift card, revealing to her that it was a prize that I had won. When we got home, she freaked the frick out about how it wasn't really a gift since I didn't pay for it. Also, I used to drive through the flower district on the way home and would stop every week and buy her flowers. She picked a fight that giving flowers doesn't count unless they are delivered. She actually is a nice person, but I dodged that bullet. Let me translate for you. Unless they're delivered, they don't count actually means, unless co-workers, friends, or family see me getting flowers, they don't count. Ever gotten in trouble for not doing a domestic chore at the specific time which was written down in a schedule you had not only never been consulted about, but never shown? I ate the middle brownie. She was legitimately pissed off at me and did talk to me for the rest of the day. Worst part is I actually prefer the crusty ones on the edge. It was just easier to get the middle one out. I was singing along with the radio, and my ex totally flew off the handle. Apparently, because the station was playing breakup songs, and I was singing them, it means I really wanted to break up. Seriously? Well, I mean, you did break up with her, since she's your ex. SLOL. I dated this girl in my late teens, early 20s. She had a late curfew on the weekends. On one particular night, we took a nap. I woke up to find it was well past her curfew and we had to get her home ASAP. I woke her to tell her this and she argued with me about what time it was. There were several visible clocks around us. That's Wake Up Lil Suzy by the Everly Brothers. The night before we were going to a birthday party for her 1-year-old nephew. She asked if we could go to the grocery store to pick up unsweetened coconut almond milk and apples after the party. Knowing her at the grocery store, it's never just two things, and knowing we'd be home late, I told her I'd just pick it up in the morning. The next morning as I'm leaving to get her items, I asked her exactly what she needed and I was told almond milk. So I go to the store and purchase almond milk and I get home and throw it in the fridge because she's in the shower. When she gets out of the shower and goes to make cereal, she grabs the almond milk and is very upset that it isn't coconut almond milk. Irrationally upset. Like I just killed a puppy kind of upset. I told her it was easily replaced and we can just go back to the store and return it. Apparently that's too embarrassing. So I told her to give it to me and I'd do it. Nope, still an issue. Long story short, she started raising her voice and cutting me off from speaking. I started raising my voice to try to get a few words in. She yelled at me to stop yelling. I wasn't. I was talking far softer than she was. We kept arguing, which was stupid. This was an issue that was easily solved by me just driving 1 mile away to get new milk. Now usually in an argument when things get heated, she runs to the bedroom and slams the door while I wait patiently outside, and then a new argument ensues over why I didn't follow to comfort her. This time however I was feeling claustrophobic and told her I needed to go for a walk outside, which was a strategy we had agreed on in an earlier fight a few months back. Communicating when either of us needed to walk away from a little bit and clam down. As I was leaving the house she threw an apple at my head, almost shattering the glass display stand by our front entrance stairs. Second floor private entrance apartment. I turned around to confront her. I barely got the words "Did you really just throw a freaking apple at my head" out and was pushed backwards. Everything in my hands fell down the stairs. I managed to catch my balance. She tells me she was afraid I was going to hit her, but in 4 years of relationship that had never ever happened, not even close. I left after them to go to her friends and spend the day. I was sickened. When I got home that night we continued to argue, or at least she argued in my general direction. She was upset that I would not apologize for being mean to her. Good for you. I hope you're doing okay. We were with some of my friends, and one of them was talking about his ex, and he said something like, "She's hot, look," and he showed me a picture on his phone. My so threatened to break up with me for this, for looking at a picture of another girl. She tried getting into it with me over her having to load and unload the dishwasher. She quickly lost when I brought up how I mow the lawn and clean the house. Trade chores once in a while. Doing the same thing over and over gets pretty boring. Mario Party. I hate games of luck. There's a ton of luck, not to mention, if I was winning, she'd sabotage me in the mini games, so I would do the same to her. We'd both argue so much about that stupid game but she insisted we keep playing it. That is my current girlfriend, lol. She loves to play Super Smash Bros. And Mario Party, but if I am beating her, I am not giving her a chance, and if she's beating me I am letting her win. I have played these games my whole life, and she has barely planned games, so it's fun when we are on the same team, not when we play against each other. I had a very Catholic girlfriend who asked me to pray for her during an exam. She failed at the exam and accused me of praying not well enough and in the wrong way. Inexperienced as I was, I prayed directly to God. I should pray to Jesus to ask him to ask his father to make her pass the exam. As a human, you are not supposed to contact God directly. I got a new kitten. She said I was cheating on her with it. I said I might try and get a job. She said I was trying to throw her away. I said hello to a female friend of mine, who happens to be bi, and she accused me of cheating. She's now my ex. So I read that as she said I was cheating on her with it, and you said I might try. I was like, and she got mad at that joke. Well, I am glad she is an ex, so kittens need love too. I drew a frog. I did not like this frog and declared it ugly. Boyfriend said the frog was quite nice and better than anything he could draw. I acquiesced the point, but declared that said fact did not mean the frog was attractive on its own merits. Somehow, this devolved into a 2-hour argument. There was crying. There was self-deprecation. I locked myself in the bathroom with a case of beer. We still argued through the door. Eventually, the boyfriend drew a sheep as a companion for the frog. Both were ugly. Together. Peace. I'm picturing him outside the bathroom door, drawing little stick sheep pictures and sliding them under the door to you. It's actually kind of a sweet visual. I bought dried basil instead of oregano for the pizza sauce. It was our biggest fight to date, with a lot of screaming, crying, and ultimately me throwing it in the garbage and leaving the apartment for a few hours. I have still no idea what was really going on, but we have never fought since, and that was 4 years ago. Totally worth it. She was living on campus in a house for a charity. The deal was, you get to live in this very nice, large house with only one other person for a year, provided you run the charitable events and so on. Her plan, as told to me while we were doing dishes, was to steal a bunch of stuff from the house when it was time to move. Batteries, light bulbs, and the blender. I pointed out that she knew the person who was going to live there next, and wouldn't she feel bad about stealing from a charitable organization? Got a wet sponge hurled at me for not taking her side, and I was kicked out of said house for the night. She was a stuff thrower. One other time she chucked a pear at me, but I don't remember why. Years ago, My ex so stabbed me because I went to see a movie for my birthday that had a scene with boobs in it. Not even kidding. I'll never again be able to watch Under Siege without thinking of that day. She woke me up at 2 AM to buy a Diet Coke from the store. When I said no, I wanted to sleep. I was told I didn't want to spend time with her and she threatened to leave. I got up, put pants on and opened the gate for her to leave. It took about 4 months after that for the breakup to occur. Whoa, you were holding that gate open for a long time. I had a boyfriend once that picked a huge fight with me because I wasn't sympathetic enough about how exhausted he was from a video game marathon. Meanwhile, I was studying for finals while at one of my 2 jobs. Surgically removed that malignant tumor. She brought another guy to an outing. Tried to make me jealous. Continually asked me if I was jealous. And when I finally said yes, she got pee off and told me jealousy is an ugly quality. We did not last very long after that. An ex accused me of filming Erin Andrews in that hotel room and sleeping with her. I was a little flattered she thought I could get a girl like Erin. Let's see. She got mad because I was spread out on the bed. She got mad that I was using the mirror. She got mad that I got into the shower before her. She got mad at me when I confronted her cheating on me for the 3rd time. She got mad at me for asking how she wanted the grocery bags brought in. This is one where she said I was using my male dominance over her. One time we were working out and I dropped a weight which made a loud noise and she got mad. She was angry that I went to the gym. She was angry that I'm an indie filmmaker. She got angry over what kind of job I had. She got angry that I had a friend who was female. This is all just off the top of my head. She was a horrible person. Deb, if you're reading this, and I know you stalk me online, let me quote AskReddit for you. For as much time as you spend in the pew, you sure have learned absolutely nothing. One of those things is not like the others. Me at a restaurant with my now ex-girlfriend. Her. What are you thinking about? Me. Nothing special. Her. Come on. What were you thinking about? Me. Nothing. I promise. Her. Fine. You don't want to tell me. Gives me the stink eye. Me. This because some people do not understand that others can have absolutely nothing on your mind. Screamed at me for trying to explain to her that she probably won't be able to take a crap for a day or 2 after a pair of morphine shots a year. My wife was telling me about her day, how she masturbated with a cucumber, then put it in the compost bucket when she was done. The bucket was full so she put it outside the front door where our 4-year-old and 16-month-old daughters were playing. She went inside, but when she came back the toddler had taken out the cucumber and was eating it. My wife took it away and washed out her mouth. Then this exchange. W. This is your fault, as we have to compost everything. Me. Or it's your fault as you left your cucumber dildo where our daughter could get it. W. Don't you scold me. I was just joking about it being your fault. Me. It didn't sound like you were joking. W. Well, you didn't clean up the kitchen this morning. You need to put the salt away when you're done. I had forgotten to set my alarm and had overslept that morning. She stomped off. I'm just baffled by the idea of a woman who's old enough to have 2 children and doesn't own a dildo. This was in the breakup phase. I think it counts. She had bought me a TV for my birthday. When we broke up, she said, I'm going to be really poor for a bit. Can I take the TV? At first nice guy me said okay. Then I figured out she was moving in with the guy she was cheating on me with, who has a TV in every room, just a little less nice than mine. So I said, actually I think I'll keep the TV. Instant rage. I didn't buy it for you. I bought it for the apartment. But it was my birthday and there was a card on it. Well, I might have let you think it was for you, but it was for the room. Well, your plan worked. I said, I do think it was for me. So I took it. I don't actually hardly ever use it. Actually, it would have been cooler to kick it out the car window in an intersection like Al Pacino. You can ball my girl if she wants you to, but you do not get to watch my freaking television set. Later my dad said, that's the sound of your balls dropping back down where they belong. Your dad was my favorite character in this. Every day I go to work almost I hear how I am hanging out with the W at my job, which is being a GM of a hotel. Then she will come home and talk about how the guy at work took his shirt off sitting next to her, and if even make a mention of anything she explodes. Almost done with this crap. Seriously. Truth is trickling out. We regularly fight over our favorite teams on shows like The Amazing Race. Just spirals out of control into the childish "no you're wrong, you're more wrong." I have picked fights with my sweet and kind husband for sounding like he feels bad after I told him something upset me. Not my proudest moment. One of mine went like this. Me, let's go eat at Scoobys. But I pronounced it like Scooby with a long O. It's called Scoobys, not Scoobies. And after we did that a couple of times, now I am just joking and laughing because I know I am saying it wrong. But she gets super defensive and eventually storms out and goes home. She didn't talk to me for the rest of the day for mispronouncing a diner. My ex was insane. Maybe Scooby is a restaurant where she was molested. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.